it's bad. After a week of that, simply coming out and seeing sunlight and seeing the grass and seeing birds, it was like amazing. And that's just after a week of, sensory deprivation. And then, so we carried on. And then finally one day, every day they kept saying to me, oh, you'll be out tomorrow. You'll be out tomorrow. And tomorrow never came. And I must admit, there were, at one point, after I'd been there about 4 weeks or so, a feeling came over me of acceptance, as in, look, I'm here. There's nothing you can do about it. They could hang you tomorrow. They could jail you for life. You could be released, but none of it's in your hands. So, and this real peacefulness just washed over me, kind of letting go, where I was just existing now. I was simply existing. I was eating, drinking, and there was something really nice about it, like a real clarity about life, where I was really living, or even though it's hard to describe, I'm dead on the inside.
Well, I don't know what you mean, but I can kind of intellectualize what you're saying.
Yeah. That letting go.
Yes.
And it's almost like I can transfer it to, when we talk about God's hukum.
Yeah, acceptance. This is the situation.
I'm your vessel, take me where you want. Kind of thing. And it was a good feeling. But anyway, all of a sudden, one day the cell doors open and they said you can go. It was.
And how long have you been in the cell by this point?
Just over 4 weeks.
Fucking hell. And I'm assuming it's not like a British prison, even though British prisons are still pretty shit. But like, just to give people who aren't necessarily too familiar with what it may have looked like, just give us a brief description of it, please.
Well, the first one, the one in Lundy Courtal, that wasn't too bad. The prison was basically the old British governor's house. So it had an old Victorian fireplace. It had, it was like an office or whatever. But it was designed to possibly hold a family, 10, 12 people. There were 66 prisoners in there. And basically every inch of space on the floor when you went to sleep was taken up. You were literally cheek by jowl with people. The light was on 24 hours a day. Bear in mind, this was May, so outside the temperature was like 44 degrees and stuff in Peshawar. And you've got this, you watch Midnight Express. It was like that. Kind of yellow, crumbling cells. Towards the end, when I thought I was being released, they put me in the worst cell possible. They put me in a cell which was literally 5 foot by 5 foot. When you put your hands up, the fan would catch your hand, so you couldn't have room to move. And it was designed for 3 prisoners, and there were 7 of us in there. And what was funny was, well, it wasn't funny, but there was this old guy in there, old Muslim guy, and he hated my guts. Anything I'd touch, he would throw it away because I've contaminated it as a non-Muslim, and he just couldn't stand me. Anyway, I remember asking some people, I said, well, he's 80, what the hell is he doing in prison? And they said, the man's got no honour. I said, well, you can go to jail for having no honour. How do they work that out then? And they said, what it is he had, his first wife had died. He took on a young bride, much younger than him. He'd caught her in bed, literally, with somebody, a younger man. And now, under the tribal laws, he's supposed to kill the wife and the lover. He only killed the lover. So he's basically been jailed for not having killed enough. Because he didn't kill the lover and because he didn't kill his young wife but killed her young lover, he was jailed for breaking the code. Why didn't you kill the lover as well? You've got no shame, you've got no honor. And so you can actually be jailed for not having killed enough.
My mind is just short-circuiting, but no, fair enough. I see where their rules. I see it. For
and then there was this poor Nigerian guy there, black guy, and I swear to God, the other prisoners, they're all from villages. They've never left their village. They don't know anything about the world. They really thought this black guy was an animal. They were touching his hair and they were asking me, "Yeah, John, but yeah, Bandaya." I said, "Yeah, he's a bunda," in that Galaranka. I said, well, just like in Karachi, they're a bit darker because they're closer to the equator. Well, this man lives right on the equator. And they just couldn't get their heads around that this guy's human. And when I left jail, he was still there. I remember I asked him, I said, what the hell are you doing here? And he gave me a bullshit story. I said, where are you from? He goes, Nigeria. I said, what are you doing in Pakistan? He goes, I've come here to seek political asylum. Who the fuck goes to Pakistan to seek political asylum?
Nobody, especially from Nigeria. Like that makes very little sense. Yeah.
He'd gone basically for the drugs. The tribal areas is where all the heroin processing labs are.
Oh.
So so anybody who's in the tribal areas generally.
So everyone in the tribal areas is smoking hash and getting high on opium and like other poppy derivatives, and like. No wonder the Americans couldn't beat them. They're just high as fuck, innit? Like they're just like as in, because I think what I've picked up on as you've been talking is they've got a shit ton of balls. Like their balls are just absolutely massive, but they're also highly loyal. They're highly loyal to one another, and I think you're not messing with that, really, are you? And especially when you then throw in a bunch of drugs and loads of guns, like.
Yeah, I remember the ISI people when they call. The area, the tribal area in Pakistan, in Urdu is called Ilaka Ghair.
Okay.
Ilaka Ghair, the strange place, the out of bounds place, the mysterious place, the place you don't go to. And I remember when the ISI interviewed me, and they looked at me and they said, "What the hell was you? We don't even go there unless we're in groups of 10 plus. What the hell was you doing there? How have you managed to stumble into the tribal areas? And you're not even a Muslim."
Yeah.
I said, I don't know. You know. They were saying, did the tribe kidnap you? I said, no, they protected me. And it was like, how has this happened? But yeah, it was, looking back at it, I can say it was a brilliant experience. I mean, where do you make friends like that? Who's going to go to jail for a stranger like that?
So just going back then, how did you get out? Like, what secured you getting out? Obviously, they said that they figured out you weren't a spy, but they could have
Yeah,
it could have been. Yeah, they could have just been like, anyway. Fuck it, we'll just keep you anyway. You're British, like you're collateral as soon as. Well, you're also a bargaining chip at that point because you're British, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get out? And like, for argument's sake, I think some people may assume having a British passport may have worked in your favor, but did it actually? And what helped you get out?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what it taught me is that there's two types of British. There's the white British, and then there's the rest of us, and we're not as important as the white British when it comes to our lives and protection we're afforded by the British government. Now, bear in mind, I'm in Lundy Courtal in the tribal area. It's the most dangerous place in the world at the time, by myself. It took the British Embassy 12 days to visit me. And when I asked the guy, why the hell is it taking you so long? He says, well, you know how it is around here. Security is really bad. And I was thinking, you're the bloody ambassador. I'm here by myself. Think about my security here. If you think security is bad for you and you're the ambassador, what about my security? And then he came over and he made it pretty clear. He said, look, he didn't say it like this, but he basically was saying, look, we're only here because you're a journalist and your newspaper's making a lot of noise and getting politicians involved. And there's a campaign to release you. If you weren't that, we probably wouldn't be here. And again, in a very matter-of-fact way. So look, they're accusing you of spying. You know that at the worst they can hang you, but or they could jail you for life. Okay, thanks.
I really need to know that. No. Yeah.
And then he goes, if they do jail you for life, we guarantee that we'll visit you at least once a year. I said, all right, thanks very much. And then what really got me was he looks me up and down. He goes, have you been tortured yet? And I thought, well, actually, I haven't been tortured, but the way you're talking about is the torture coming. And that really threw me because I was thinking, no, I haven't been tortured, but you're saying, well, you haven't been tortured
I should
yet.
be, yeah.
He was almost disappointed that I hadn't been, and so that didn't leave me in any great condition. But one thing he did do, the fact that a Gora had come to see me, raised my street cred in the jail. That this guy really is British. This guy really has got connections to politicians. We better not torture him because he may be a somebody. But if I'd been white, I can guarantee you that ambassador, I wouldn't have spent a day in jail. I'll tell you what, a comparison. The other prisoners were laughing at me. They said, look, just before you got arrested, a French journalist got arrested in exactly the same circumstances. He didn't have the paperwork. He'd gone into Afghanistan, was trying to get back to Pakistan. His ambassador came immediately. He didn't spend a second in jail. Why the fuck are you still here 12 days later and nobody's come to see you?
Does it all? Says it all.
So it really made me think, I'm as British as my passport and that's about it.
So whilst you're in prison, obviously you've got the protection of Noshad and his friend who's, I don't know why they've decided to join you in prison, but like a proverbial hats off to them for that. How hairy does it get? Besides the situation when the guy calls you into the room and kind of, I guess to paraphrase, essentially asks you to convert. Is there any other point where you're like, fuck, this might go south quick?
Every day, because basically the cells I was being held into were remand cells. So every 20 minutes, a new prisoner's coming or someone's going. And every new prisoner that came, I'd think, is this the Al Qaeda hit squad that's been sent to get me? Is this the one? Is this the one? You know, and somebody looks at me funny, why are you looking at me funny? You know, you had people who were opium dealers, you had people who were Taliban, you had people who were opening Al Qaeda. And every time that door opened, I'm on my toes thinking, is this the guys? Are they the ones? And so, yeah, every day was, are they going to get me tomorrow? Are they going to get me today? How are they going to do it? And so, yeah, any new face would startle me. And that's what I said, if No Shadow wasn't there, I would have been buried. Within days.
And they stayed with you for the whole 4 weeks?
Yeah, never left my side.